is Dev. I was actually inspired by Dish Team today. It went by like, we were like a really cohesive unit, and we were just like, we plowed through it. It was like we had that one mind thing going on, so.
I'm Anna. I'm from Sweden. I'm here on short-term staff. I was inspired by the fact that I was able to complete shopping 4 gallons of turnips.
Ooh.
I didn't really know what turnips was.
Thanks for helping out with that.
Thank you.
My name is Amanda. I'm also here as short-term staff. And lately I have felt very inspired by the lovely nature surrounding Holden.
Yes, indeed.
I'm Steve, just arrived in the village today as a guest. Was here many years ago as a maverick. And my forebears are from Sweden.
Oh.
I'm inspired by the drive up here on the bus, watching the river, creek, whatever, start way down there, and then after a few miles it just kind of kept coming closer and closer to us until it was just right there. It was amazing.
Yeah. I'm Jason. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm inspired by all the artwork I continue to see all over Holden. Tiny wall, every building, watercolors, the pottery. Every time I turn around, I find some new piece of artwork that inspires me.
Beautiful.
My name is Mike, and I use he, him pronouns as well. Today, I guess I would be inspired by Monkey Bear Falls. We hiked out there this morning, so it was nice.
This is called gong fu, tea preparation. Gong fu comes from the same word as kung fu, which is like mastery. So it's just mastery of tea. And we're gonna have a blend of a pu'er and an oolong. This is from '99, I believe.
Wow.
And
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh, of course. It's this is my favorite thing to share.
So I'm a tea newbie, so
Excellent.
What kind of plant, that's tea leaves, right?
Yes.
But
So the cool thing about tea, and also we'll pass this around. This is an oolong, a Wuyi oolong. So there's very specific mountains in which tea is often named after. And so this Wuyi is a very famous mountain. So tea is all just a single plant. Camellia sinensis is the Latin term for it. So the only thing that differentiates the different kinds of tea is the terroir, like where it's grown, the soil, and the human cultivation, essentially. So it's the same plant, black tea, green tea, pu'er, oolong, it's all the same plant. Which is kind of trippy. People assume that they're different species, but it's all the same.
And then of course we have teas that have like herbs and
So
spices.
herbal teas technically are not tea.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, because they're not.
They're spicy hot water. Or something.
Exactly. You could pour hot water over anything and call it tea. So this is gonna be fairly earthy, but there's gonna be other profiles. And who knows if any of them are real. Like oftentimes, it tastes like buttered courgettes, on a summer breezy day. It's just fun to say sometimes, right? So what I did first was I just heated all the vessels with hot water. And because you want all the vessels to be of the same temperature. And then...
And is it a little bit like coffee where people are particular about the water as well?
Oh, yes. So water is a whole different can of worms.
It can put flavor in.
Yeah, and I happen to love the water here. There's a lot of minerality to it, though, which I think is great. Other people would definitely not prefer it, but it certainly beats city water, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Are there etiquette things that go along with it? Like, should we not clink glasses?
There are etiquette things, but I don't like to follow them.
Okay.
I'm a breaker of rules. That's part of my improv spirit. Yes, technically no clinking, but that doesn't matter. Technically no talking kind of thing as well, especially if you get into like the Japanese realm of things. But yeah, as I said, I'm all about irreverence because I think laughter and conversation is the best thing ever.
And I'm guessing there's a timing element too. Like you just kind of proceeded through there, but you could have let the steeping be longer, right?
Yes, but that's the reason why we have this tiny vessel. that we pack full of tea that we don't steep
I see.
is that, yeah, of course. And then drink at your own leisure. Feel free to slurp as such. And then I'll just be refilling your cups. There you go. And to finish the thought, yes, the reason why we don't steep it is that we get a different iteration of the tea every time. So this process is going to happen like 20 times. You're going to taste something a little different each time. So you get more of like the story with the tea, which I think is really fun. And the other reason why we love tea is that it releases L-theanine in the brain. L-theanine is the most amazing amino acid that promotes both relaxation and focus simultaneously. So no other herb does that. It's always one at the expense of the other, which is why this has often been associated with kind of just meditative traditions. You get that focus and relaxation.
What kind of caffeine levels are we looking at here?
So, caffeine is always an interesting topic as well because L-theanine is a caffeine suppressant. So,
Thank you.
caffeine is not really a thing. But L-theanine is a thing. If you feel something, which you probably will, it's because of the L-theanine. It's not because of the caffeine. You should feel a joyful pleasantness. Or you can at least convince yourself that you're feeling that.
How would one find out that it is a combination of focus and relaxation? How was that discovered? Do you know?
It's a good question. So the mythology behind the tea plant is that the Buddha, in his attempt to achieve nirvana, was getting tired as he was meditating. And so he ripped his eyebrows off to prevent sleep and threw it on the ground, and that became the first tea plant. So that's the mythological kind of significance of like being able to be alert and relaxed at the same time. But yeah, how do you know? I don't know. You just know when you know.
It is interesting compared to coffee. I don't drink coffee at all. But so many people would not want to drink coffee in the evening because it is not relaxing. It's the opposite.
Yes, I drink this before bed all the time. But I also do an hour meditation before I go to sleep. So this is often a precursor for that meditation as well, and it doesn't mess with my sleep cycle at all. Would anyone like to pick a random book and read a poem? You brought one too. Excellent. Wonderful.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. Feel free to... Oh, that's not a book of poetry. How the Penguin Saved Veronica. Actually, who knows? I'm actually really enticed about that now.
Yeah, right.
So, Vritti is one of my favorite poets of all time. When he immigrated from Germany, he actually came to Seattle and taught at the University of Washington.
Yes, right.
Are you familiar with Vritti?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are you from Seattle?
I grew up in Southeast Asia, but we would always come to Central Washington because my grandparents were in these parts. Don't really know where I'm from.
Okay.
But I'd say this Central Washington has been the most consistent place in my life. I've just never lived here for very long. It's always just been like sporadic little trips. So I'm very fond of this place. But I also just moved here from Austin, Texas, where I spent a decade there.
Okay.
So I started my own improv corporate training business over there. So it's team building and helping adults feel like kids again because, you know, they all forget. Although it seems like none of you have had that problem.
Found if you ask adults how they play, they have a hard time articulating that.
Right.
If you say, what is it you do,
Right.
that you lose track of time or sense of self, you can maybe think of something like
Yeah.
just
Sorry
play
about
for them.
It's a messy endeavor.
Oh, thank you.
Of course. Has anyone found a poem? I often like just flipping to a random page. You seem like...
one,
Okay.
yeah.
What do we got?
The Manifestation by Theodore Rothke. Is that how you say it?
Yep.
Or Vritti.
Vritti, yeah.
Redkey? Okay. Many arrivals make us live. The tree becoming green, a bird tipping the topmost bough, a seed pushing itself beyond itself, the mole making its way through darkest ground, the worm, intrepid scholar of the soil. Do these analogies perplex? A sky with clouds, the motion of the moon, the waves at play, a sea wind pausing in a summer tree. What does what it should do needs nothing more. The body moves, though slowly, toward desire. We come to something without knowing why.
He gets me every time. Obviously, he moved to Washington later in his life, but I feel like he really adopted like the nature from the Northwest. A lot of his poems are just have very poignant nature imagery and symbolism. And
I like the worm, intrepid scholar of the soil.
That's exactly the line that stood out to me.
The first things I looked at when I got to Holden, having never been here, was the garden and seeing all the compost that they had. Jealous for my own garden. Yeah, the worms have been at work.
There was something early in that poem that made me think about what my favorite moment is in gardening, which is the very moment when the seed has caused the seedling to just push up and kind of crack the soil. And there was something in the first couple lines there.
The seed pushing itself beyond
There we
itself.
go. Yeah, there we go.
yes.
That was it. I live for that moment. It's something about becoming, right? Or something. I don't know what that is.
The first sign.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopeful or something.
What's hidden becomes manifest.
Yeah, that's it, right? The seed is below and then it's not.
Yeah.
Right?
In the mystical improv realm, that's how I like to teach that art form, is to say that, you know, we are recreating ourselves at every moment if we allow ourselves that opportunity. But then, you know, part of the life's little snares, which are necessary for everyone, is like the definitions that we give ourselves. And then that kind of disallows us from that sort of internal sprouting in every moment.
It might hold us in place, those definitions.
Exactly.
perhaps,
Yeah.
or,
We convince ourselves we can only do certain things and or be a certain way. But yeah, we could be a little sproutling every time if we wanted to. That's why I like silliness and goofiness.
Good game if done well. Even if it's the same game, you never know how it will turn out.
Yeah. How's the tea treating people? It's getting darker and darker. I don't know if
I
you've
noticed,
Yes.
Yeah, it's lovely.
So for me, I get almost like a caramely sensation, like in the back of my tongue. It's also a dryness. This is a very drying sensation
Yeah, I feel
for people that enjoy dry wines.
I can say that before coming over here, I was just about to fall asleep.
Excellent.
And that's gone now. It's not a caffeine, like you said. It's not,
Right.
you know, not a.
Beautiful. Well, I'm
Yes,
glad.
so thank you yes, for that.
My pleasure. I also did forget to mention we have this grumpy cat over here. Very important part of the process. Sorry, the tea is blocking. So we have tea pets. And so this is made from an unglazed clay. Purple clay is what they call it in Taiwan. Yixing. And because it's unglazed, it absorbs everything. And oftentimes a lot of teaware is unglazed as well, so you can season it like a skillet. In that way, like one type of teaware would be used for only one type of tea. And you would like season that over the years. And then it becomes super nerdy and territorial as well.
You might not even need to make the tea, you just
Right,
bring it
exactly.
up.
You just waft it, yeah.
Just enjoy the previous teas, right, or something. Thank you.
The tea pet, if you feed it with high quality tea for many years, it almost becomes a charm. It's like a good luck object because it has all the good energy from all that tea. But it's also like for anyone that wishes someone else were here with them in this moment, you would pour tea on the tea pet and they would be here in spirit. So that is an invitation for anyone to feed Grumpy Kitty.
All right, well, I'm gonna use that as a moment to share my poem then.
Beautiful.
So just a little over a year ago, I lost my mom, and I have found solace in this particular poem. You may know Billy Collins.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites, and I know a lot of people enjoy Billy Collins' poetry. You may also know the lanyard. The reason I love the lanyard is it's become kind of an intersection for me of a moment of reverence for my mom, at the same time, sort of the joy of camp, of being at a place like this, either as a child or now. So I would love to share this with you all.
Thank you.
The lanyard. The other day, as I was ricocheting slowly off the pale blue walls of this room, bouncing from typewriter to piano, from bookshelf to an envelope lying on the floor, I found myself in the L section of the dictionary, where my eyes fell upon the word lanyard. No cookie nibbled by a French novelist could send one more suddenly into the past. A past where I sat at a workbench, at a camp, by a deep Adirondack lake, learning how to braid thin plastic strips into a lanyard, a gift from my mother. I had never seen anyone use a lanyard or wear one, if that's what you did with them, but that did not keep me from crossing strand over strand again and again until I had made a boxy red and white lanyard for my mother. She gave me life and milk from her breasts, and I gave her a lanyard. She nursed me in many a sick room, lifted teaspoons of medicine to my lips, set cold face cloths on my forehead, and then led me out into the airy light and taught me to walk and swim. And I, in turn, presented her with a lanyard. Here are thousands of meals, she said. And here's clothing and a good education. And here is your lanyard, I replied, which I made with a little help from a counselor. Here is a breathing body and a beating heart, strong legs, bones and teeth, and 2 clear eyes to read the world, she whispered. And here, I said, is the lanyard I made at camp. And here, I wish to say to her now, is a smaller gift. Not the archaic truth that you can never repay your mother, but the rueful admission that when she took the 2-tone lanyard from my hands, I was as sure as a boy could be that this useless, worthless thing I wove out of boredom would be enough to make us even.
Beautiful. Well, also in that spirit, let us feed the teapot.
Yes. From my...
Absolutely.
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
What's your mother's name?
Mary Lou.
Mary Lou.
Mary Lou.
Mary Lou.
Did your mom come to hold it?
I think she did, but maybe just once, and we didn't together. So she came at some other time.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was here when I was 19 and was a maverick for a little while.
I came also 19 years old.
Ah, how about that?
Yeah, last time I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that?
I came 20, turned 21 last year.
How are you enjoying Holden?
I am really loving the nature and the stillness here. It's really nice that it's not very hectic here and you kind of just go with the flow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very perceptible difference for me. I love to meditate, and so I have a 2-hour practice that I do every day. But doing it up here is so much easier. Like even just like going like down like from Chelan like to Lucerne, like I can feel it just like as you're getting away from civilization, like there's just like a lightness. Which, by the way, you're welcome to meditate with us any evening, any of you.
Thank you.
No.
It is always a challenge to enter a place, and it's another challenge to leave a place. There's always a coming and a totally different going.
Although where you live sounds very intriguing
Yeah.
as well, because you're on an island, right?
Yeah, we live on an island.
Yeah.
Yeah. We live on the largest island of Sweden. It's called Gotland,
Gotland,
meaning
yes.
the good land. Do you know it?
Yes.
Yeah, some people have known about it. Yeah,
I had the opportunity to visit Sweden a few years ago.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
More precisely, the delicious land, ain't it?
Yeah, the delicious, true.
Oh,
More
the delicious land.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That is a. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Did you have something that you found?
Sure. This is Elizabeth Bishop. Apparently, this is every poem she's ever written. The complete poems, winning the National Book Award for Poetry. I had not heard of her, but it looks like she's in the middle of the 20th century. And then this book is divided up into different sections. And this is a poem from the section entitled Brazil. And it sounds like she spent some time there. So this is called Song for the Rainy Season. Hidden, oh hidden in the high fog, the house we live in, beneath the magnetic rock. Rain, rainbow-ridden, where blood-black bromelias, lichens, owls, and the lint of the waterfalls cling, familiar, unbidden. In a dim age of water, the brook sings loud from a rib cage of giant fern. The vapor climbs up the thick growth effortlessly, turns back, holding them both, house and rock, in a private cloud. At night, on the roof, blind drops crawl, and the ordinary brown owl gives us proof. He can count 5 times, always 5. He stamps and takes off after the fat frogs that, shrilling for love, clamber and mount. House, open house, to the white dew and the milk-white sunrise, kind to the eyes, to membership of silver fish, mouse, bookworms, big moths, with a wall for the mildew's ignorant map. Darkened and tarnished by the warm touch of the warm breath, maculate, cherished, rejoice, for a later era will differ. O difference that kills or intimidates much of all our small shadowy life without water. The great rock will stare, unmagnetized, bare, no longer wearing rainbows or rain. The forgiving air and the high fog gone, the owls will move on, and the several waterfalls shrivel in the steady sun.
Thank you. Did it say the mildew's ignorant
That's
map?
exactly the line that jumped out at me. Yeah. The mildews, where is it again?
That's
Yeah,
great.
for the mildews, with a wall for the mildews ignorant map.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Do you have a poem? You want to read?
I can pick a poem.
Okay.
Pacific Northwest Spiritual Poetry, edited by Charles Potts. Now, I need your
Yeah.
participation. I'm flipping through. Someone say stop.
Stop.
Someone say left or right.
Left.
Left? Whoa.
Oh.
Okay. I'm going to read half of this because it is quite lengthy. But this is letter to my father on his 65th birthday. Dear Daddy, and this is Sharon Dubiago. Dubiago, 1941. Dear Daddy, I am watching a bald eagle. He must have his nest in the bluff beneath this cabin, because Michael saw him about a month ago. He perches on 2 snags that jut out over the water. His eye is strange, black with a white stripe circling. He has a huge yellow hooked bill for tearing his prey, the book says. That rabbit we found a month ago in our road, the brain eaten out through his eyes. My first eagle! And so, though this is Friday the 13th, and I've lost 2 husbands on Friday the 13th, and believe now in the superstition so far, this Friday is a lucky 13th. Wow. And she switched that around so quickly. That's great. I'm living with Michael. Have I told you, Daddy, I count all my lovers as husbands? Nice. Our cabin is on the Strait of Juan de Fuca, facing north a little northwest. At night, when it's clear, the horizon is lit with Victoria on Vancouver Island. Earlier this week, after a rare all-day wind out of the northwest that brought snow the next day, it was so clear that we could see white skyscrapers in San Juan and Lopez Islands. The passage called Haro Strait, the inland passage to Alaska. To the east, steaming Mount Baker and other snow-capped volcanoes I don't know the names of. All together they make the Ring of Fire. I hope you and Mama will visit, spend some time here. Tomorrow is your birthday. Imagine, 65 years, and I'll be 40 this year. I always thought you were 26 when I was born, until a while ago, watching the eagle, I realized that you had been 25. Imagine you, Daddy, 25, makes my skin rush. I begin to feel the years falling through me, like sand through a sieve. On each grain, a picture. I'm a girl in your arms. I'm the mother of a girl. How strange and circling it all is, like the eagle's eyes. This Sunday, your father would be 103. I could remember if I tried you at 25. You, your father's 38th birthday present. I wake so often at night not knowing when it is, who's beside me, where my parents and where my children are. I dream of getting home. I've been toying with the idea of giving myself the gift of turning 36 for my 40th birthday. Actually, I'm going to stop right there. Very playful language. And I love the Northwest imagery. Has anyone been to Vancouver Island?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Tofino, that's on one end of
Yes,
Vancouver Island,
yes.
right? So my grandfather, that was his favorite spot.
Yes.
And my grandfather is the one who painted the VC.
The ceiling?
The ceiling, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Does it have a name?
I don't know if it has a name. It probably does.
I thought I saw like a book or some kind of thing that talks about it and it kind of explains it somewhere.
I enjoy looking at it.
Yeah. Although he, apparently, this is all according to rumor, he wanted people to paint over it and like have it be like a new thing all the time, but no one's gonna let that happen.
Right.
I feel like I'm gonna like somehow honor that wish one night and just paint over it.
On your last visit to
On
the
my
village.
right, exactly, yeah.
Do you know when?
Next boat out.
Yeah. Right.
Do you know when he painted it?
It's a good. I don't.
Long time ago.
Yeah, it must have. I imagine early '80s
Oh, yeah.
is what I'm thinking, because they moved from kind of Indiana area where he was a professor at Valparaiso. His story actually of coming to Washington is very fascinating in that he was just here meeting with some tribal leaders discussing art. One of the tribal leaders said, your spirit animal is the chickadee. And the reason for that is because the chickadee is the rare bird that doesn't interfere with any other bird calls. So it's called the friend of all the birds. And so he kind of like heard that. It's like, oh, interesting. Didn't think of anything of it. But then on this weird detour he had to take to get back to the airport, he saw this property with just 1,000 chickadees like on it. And so he called my grandmother after that. It's like, we're moving here and I'm buying this land. And so that was the start of the Grinneville Guild, which is sort of a sister community to Holden. I'm not sure how true any of that is, because he was also a very dramatic orator. But it's a cool story nonetheless.
Right.
And what was his name?
Richard Kemmerer. So for him and my grandmother, their whole thing was, how do you live your faith through art? So their own Lutheran experience was very much tied to art, which I love.
I'd say I'd resonate with that. That beauty in art has probably spoken to me more of
Yeah.
God's love than probably any sermon.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's nice that you
Yeah.
notice the art.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Full circle.
Yeah.
Way to listen.
Maybe it's an act of attention.
And the notion of like co-creating, which gets more into I feel like the mystical aspects of Christianity, of just we're here as God experiencing itself. Yeah, it's like we're a necessary part of that collaborative effort to make creation exist.
Do you work with art back home?
I'm a youth director, so I enjoy play as well.
Awesome. Wonderful.
have been for 20 years. So
Oh, wonderful.
Where at?
In Champaign, Illinois. So
Okay.
it's about 3 hours south of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
But probably one of the best religion classes I took in college was an art class. It was called juxtaposynthesis.
Mm-hmm.
Take things that would normally not go together and combine them, wrap them, cover them, so that you couldn't really tell what the two original objects were because you were creating something new and giving it life. Because the two objects we would use would be things that were discarded, found on the side of the road or a thrift store. So we'd have this pile of what looked like trash in our art studio, and then randomly grab two things, the improv, right? Randomly grab two things without thinking about it, and then make something new. And I'm like, this is so redemptive to me. This is the best religion class I've taken so far. Yeah, so art always has and that's where I met my wife too. So in an art class.
Oh,
So.
beautiful.
So we love, puzzles and creating artwork. Yeah.
Well, something happens to us when we look upon God as an artist
Yeah.
and see ourselves as the artwork,
Yeah.
moving, changing artwork.
Yeah, I think that can be one of the most freeing and liberating experiences when we're finally comfortable in our own skin and who we've been created to be.
So we have come to the end of our hour, but I want to say that this has been a very delightful group, and I'm glad that indeed all of you were, just showed up and were willing to share and be vulnerable and playful. And I often like to end with a particular improv exercise that's very silly. So this is called Words of Wisdom. So essentially we're going to put our hands like this. Yes, almost like we're a supervillain or a monk. I don't know, the same thing, right? And we're going to come up with a phrase one word at a time, but it doesn't go in any direction. And once the group has decided that is our phrase, we're all going to go, yes, 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 yes. Okay, so we'll try this once as an example, and then we'll get into it. So let's take a collective breath. Puzzles.
Left.
Water.
Wisdom.
Rummaging.
Thoroughly.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, one more. Someone start us off.
Window.
Carries.
Light.
Into.
Bird.
Yes, 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 yes. Windows carry light into birds. Beautiful.
Yep.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you for the tea.
Yes. Thank you for participating.
谢谢。
谢谢，谢谢。
谢谢。
Yes.
谢谢。
谢谢。